Peace community. Welcome to Esoteric Sessions. If you are new, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. Gratitude for each of you tuning in and joining me on this esoteric journey. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. And this will be a cosmic session to align with today's energy. Now, before I begin, I would love to give a few reminders when tapping into these sessions. Please keep in mind to only take what resonates and leave the rest behind. These sessions are timeless, so keep in mind that sessions can be reflective of past, present, or future timelines. Energy is fluid and change is constant, not permanent. So free will is always an option. Lastly, remember that these sessions consist of sacred, ancient practices that are to be used as guidance tools and utilized for the highest good of intention. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's session. Okay. Before I begin, I do want to say to those of you tuning in, I hope that you all are doing well and that you're having a beautiful and blessed day thus far. And I want to take the time to give acknowledgement to some cosmic transits taking place. And while I'm doing so, you all may hear me shuffling in real time. But as I do that, like I said, I want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the cosmic transits. So before I even begin, I do want to mention that I did have intentions on coming on air much sooner. I know today's Tuesday, so I want to say it was Friday evening. I wanted to come on air and give you all a session, but at that time, it was at the end of Cancer season. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to shout out both Cancers and Leos because I wasn't sure which date, Leo season, officially began and which date Cancer season actually ended. So I was just going to give a shout out to both, but happy belated to all the Cancers who celebrated. And also, I want to say happy birthday to all of the Leos. And also, shout out to you if you have any of those placements in your big three, especially associating with your sun, moon, or your rising. Or I even want to mention your Venus. So, once again, happy birthday to all of the Leos in celebration. So, one of the cosmic transits that I'm going to mention that I feel has a lot to do with my verbiage and communication. Right now, we're currently under the influence of more than a few planets retrograding, if I'm not mistaken. And to my knowledge, I believe that Mercury is now retrograding along with Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune. And I'm not sure if I'm forgetting any. You can drop down comments below if you want to add to the convo. But I know that with Mercury specifically, I know that many like to look at it negatively due to the unfortunate fear mongering. I don't really look at the transits as, times to really be in, fear. I look at retrogrades from a very, how can I say this? A very mindful perspective. I don't necessarily associate it with a negative. So I take it as a time to really pay attention to what is coming up to the surface, what am I being reminded of, and what is um being asked of me in this moment. What opportunities am I being given? Am I open? to receive them. So that's how I feel at this time. And I feel like with Mercury retrograding in the sign of Leo specifically, um, I think that says something. Leo has associations with our heart. And, Mercury is the planet of communication, travel, speed, technology. And I feel like at the heart of those things, what is Mercury asking? And it's all going to be different for every individual because we all are cosmically differently and uniquely designed. And this transit and all transits, of course, impact all of us differently, especially with where it's happening in the sign and things of that nature. I think, the signs that are being really highlighted, I say highlighted, highlighted at this time are, Geminis, Virgos, and Leos, for a multitude of reasons, right? Number one being it's Leo season, and the fact that Mercury chose to go direct in the sign of Leo. So that says a lot. And it'll be there for a little moment. And I just wanted to tap into the collective to see what energies and messages would like to come through. Like I said, I don't necessarily have a theme or a title in mind, but I just felt, divinely guided to come on air today. And if I haven't stated it already, for those of you who have been tapping in, once again, like I have said, I took some time away, for a multitude of reasons. One of them I'll mention here. There's a lot happening in our world, collectively, as you all may have taken notice to. There's a lot of chaos, very Mars like energy. Things are intense, things are, chaotic. There's talks of war and, man made famine and things of that nature taking place. And even here in the western, where there's so many injustices happening to the indigenous individuals. And I really wanted to take some time to center myself, to center my thoughts, and really shift and pivot the focus from, sessions involving, transits, even though they are of importance because they have a lot to do with, what's being influenced to, to some degree, if not all degrees. But excuse me, I just really wanted to honor what I was being guided to do. And before I get started, I do want to say that once again, my intention in doing this session is rooted in, genuineness. And in this very moment, I not only want to ask for protection for myself, but for those of you as well who will be tuning into this session. So without further ado, I hope that this message or these messages that come through resonate with who it needs to. Once again, only take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And let's go ahead and get started with the session. I'm going to be utilizing a few sacred tools of choice, along with some other fun things that I wanted to add to today's session. I found it to be a little different, and I said, why not? And but yeah, before I even start too, there was one more thing because I feel like I'm missing something. Um, oh, I almost missed it. Regarding the sacred tools that I'll be utilizing, I have a couple of tarot decks along with a couple of oracle decks as well. And I also sat in meditation with the tools that I've chosen. And in meditation, I do have like a little notepad where I wrote down the things that came through. Okay, so while in meditation, a vision or an image of the Ace of Swords came through and a rope dispenser. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm saying that correctly, what rope is held in and dispensed in, I called it a rope dispenser. And what I got with that image was running on a thin rope And then I heard running on a thin rope of hope. So I don't know if any of those things could be of resonance for you. You may have a world of clarity, presenting itself to you at this moment. Most High, the divine, the universe could be orchestrating a lot of clarity in front of you at this time. That's something that I was getting with that Ace of Swords. So I don't know the significance just yet, but let's go ahead and tap in to the session. Okay. And I know I stated that I would be shuffling in real time while I was talking to you all, but I did stop halfway. And for those of you wondering, when I say I will be utilizing certain sacred tools, I'm going to be utilizing a couple of tarot decks. The tarot decks that I will be using today, they're pretty simple, to the point, very direct. I feel when I utilize them for myself. This is the original Rider Waite Smith, if I'm correct, deck, and then I have a oracle from ancient Kemet, or known in modern day as Egypt. So those messages are really important. I find them to be very useful when it comes to guidance, if I'm seeking that. So I'm going to use that at the end of today's session for those of you who may seek guidance in the end. And I have one more deck that I want to shuffle, and then we can get started. And I'm also going to take a quick sip before I to get started. Hmm. All right. So let's get an overall energy of today's reading session. Okay. We had a jumper, a lot of Pentacle energy, Nine of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles, Judgment at the bottom of the deck. But I'm not going to take it because it jumped out. This is just a shuffle. Okay. Alrighty. So what we have here at first is the Lovers. So this may be a love session collective, or something to do with love, a transformation, after a time of feeling trapped, possibly even powerless when it came to like contentment or wish fulfillment. Hmm. So there's an energy here of someone, feeling this energy of loss, sadness, worry, even remorse and regret for, something that they feel is missing, especially when it comes to their emotions. And it has a lot to do with a love connection, something, or someone that they feel drawn to in this moment. I feel like they want attention. They could want to send a message, but there's a lot of worry. There's a lot of stressing. This person could do a lot of thinking at night even. Yeah, this is definitely about a connection, maybe even possibly an ending, or someone feeling trapped and powerless in a situation. They're really in their mind. There could be no communication, is what I'm getting. Yeah. Like there's no nurturing of a situation at this time, and someone is really feeling, conflicted. They feel a sense of sadness. So let me ask, what's the root of, this sadness over this connection? The hermit. Okay. Someone is really, really in a hermit energy, an energy that speaks about reflecting and having introspective and or having introspect with regarding a situation and even themselves. Like someone is seeking enlightenment and they're really looking back on their actions. And like I said again, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo as well. And this energy is very fitting. I feel like with someone going within, they are, experiencing this sense of sadness, grief, even loss when it comes to a connection. This individual could want forward movement and they could be really in this energy of like reflecting. Some of them could even be observing, going back and forth about, how to move forward, and really move past, something that has taken place that has left this individual feeling like they may have even missed an opportunity. Some of them may could be even, trying to manifest. Someone here is really trying to tap into their intuition. And maybe you could intuitively or energetically feel this, for whoever you are in the collective. I feel like this is someone, possibly outside, or, if this is you, as the individual that I'm picking up on, I feel like if this resonates more with the person who is actually going through these motions in itself, you're feeling a lot of regret and remorse over, a connection that you really felt was special. You really felt drawn to, there was a magnetic pull between the two of you. And, you know, it's due to you going within, the hermit. You've seen yourself. You've done a lot of introspection, when it comes to this connection and this situation. And I feel like you may be in this energy of feeling a sense of sadness, grief, or even loss in this moment regarding this connection. I want to know what happened in the recent past that led to you going into hermit and then, further feeling this sadness and, over this connection. What happened in the recent past that led to this? And if it's, vice versa, what happened in the recent past that led this person, wow, okay, Queen of Swords. Okay. You could have experienced some cutting words from a feminine energy. There could have been some type of divorcing type energy, a detaching type energy. Words were exchanged between you and a feminine energy. Queen of Swords, someone who could be very, direct in cutting with their words. And it could have caused a lot of heartbreak. There could have been a lot of heartbreak when this took place, regarding this connection. Once again, Four of Wands. Like something here, was fated, was destined to happen. Wow, Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords after. Hmm. Some sense of enlightenment. The Hangman. Okay, so if you're not resonating with that as the direct individual that's actually going through the motions that I'm currently picking up within this session, You have a person that is in this five of cups energy, reflecting and regretting and feeling this sense of sadness when it comes to their actions. And just, they're in introspection right now, really looking back and going within, which is actually beautiful for the overall. And the fact that this person is in this energy of feeling remorse, feeling this sadness, it's very telling of what's happening. I feel that this is someone that's intentional, an intentional being. Like their decisions right now are very intentional. What is the highest potential of, this situation? Okay, the strength card. Hmm. I feel like with this person, making the decision regarding this connection to go into hermit, go within, they are going to, have the strength, the courage, the confidence, to tame something within themselves, to overcome something, within some type of conflict in order to have this celebration, this reconciliation, in order to offer and come in and, stand up for a situation. I feel like this person is contemplating. I feel like they're aware to some degree that you could be a bit defensive. There definitely could still be conflict here. But the energy overall is, someone here wants to begin something new. They see you as an empress. Someone is, planning, awaiting. But while they're doing so, they're reflecting. Okay. What is the near future of the situation? Okay, Three of Cups. A reconciliation. And for some of you, this is going to be for, now I'm going to kind of pivot back to the direct person. I feel like you have a high potential to have the courage and the strength and the confidence to overcome this situation and have this reconciliation that you're seeing in the near future, that I'm seeing in the near future. This coming together, this, celebrating each other, grouping together. I feel that you could be observing, you could be, analyzing still, when to take a lead, when to take her, some of you may find it a bit risky. Wow. And I don't know, flowers could be significant, or significant, roses, a white rose. I don't know why the color, white is standing out, but in this picture, there's a white rose. So, someone, here could like or love white roses. This person may know that, or this may be something that they intentionally want to give to you. There's a healing energy, start energy. I'm getting like, that feeling that you get, or when there's like sparkly things around, or even sparks flying. I'm seeing that with these images, the star, the fool, and the page of swords. There's like this glow, there's like this shine, there's like this spark. Someone wants to take this leap, to have this fresh start, is what I feel. Like, even though they may, be facing certain conflicting energies, right? With their emotions, these sad feelings, this feeling of, or these feelings of grief and loss emotionally. Comes to fears and concerns, you know. I feel like, for you, as an individual, I'm going to keep continuing to speak directly to the person that I'm channeling through. I feel like, you may feel that this person, that you are, currently having remorse over, and you're reflecting on in regards to this connection. You may feel that they may not be willing to let go of the things that took place between the two of you. They may not be so willing to bring this to an end. You may have concerns that um this may be hard to just release. I don't think you just want to release it in that way, but there's a concern and fear around you feeling like, they may not be willing to release the burden that I've caused, or be so willing because of the burdens that I've caused. That's something that I'm also getting. And for those of you on the opposite end of this energy, if this resonates with you specifically, you know that there's a person that you had a connection with where you could have, been very defensive and Queen of Swords energy, very direct, very cutting even to an extent with your word choices. But I feel like you two have had the courage and the confidence and the strength to overcome whatever has happened between the two of you. And that's not to say that you're completely healed, or, or if you still even need any healing at all. But there's just this energy of you having that strength overall. And you are aware that there's this energy of reconciliation. You may intuitively sense that. You may also, you may not be willing to just release, all of the burdens that, um, or release, that experience in that way. You may not be so willing to just let it go and restart, or whatever it is that this person is feeling. And maybe that doesn't have anything to do with you, but I'm just telling you about the concerns and the fears of this individual. They feel like the burdens may be too much of a burden to even revisit, if that makes sense. You may not be so quick to invest. Okay, let's move forward. Wow. And I'm glad that I shared that with you all, collective, about the Ace of Swords. The next card that came out, I feel like right now, um, I'm going to speak once again directly to the person whose energy I'm channeling through. I feel like what you're feeling right now in this moment when it comes to this connection, this is a very powerful, strong, magnetic connection. And I feel like you may be on the precipice of doing something unexpected, and it has to do with your way of thinking. Maybe you're not thinking ways that you normally would. Maybe you are getting ready to, do something out of the blue in this moment. You're like on the precipice of doing that after having such moments of reflection and receiving such clarity. This has a lot to do with how you're seeing things too. And like I said regarding meditation, so this is confirmation at the bottom of the deck. We have the Ace of Swords next to the Hangman with the Temperance energy, which to me is just screaming, intuitively. This person has either just recently gone through an awakening where they, even though they've been in this stagnant energy, I don't feel like it's just completely stagnant. I feel like they're really going through changes, and they're really having moments of, being in hermit, reflecting. And with this, it has them in this energy of, once again, wanting to rush in, even do the unexpected, the unthinkable. I'm hearing the song called Unthinkable by Alicia Keys. And I don't know, maybe some of you may like that record. I know I love the melody of it. That entire record was crazy. I loved it. But that song could be of significance for someone. And you know what's coming through right now? In that record, Alicia talks about someone's got to take the lead. Who's it going to be? This could be something that this person could be reflecting upon. I feel like whoever you are, you could be in an energy of not budging. That's the word that I'm getting as I'm looking at the Queen of Swords energy and then the Strength card sitting next to it. I feel like you're someone that's very solid when it comes to your decision, especially with the Queen of Swords energy. Even if you're not someone that embodies or actually associates with the element of air when it comes to your big three, your sun, moon, or your rising, or even your Venus, you could just be embodying this very precise, cutting, straight to the point, respectful, wise, decision making energy. And you're very confident. You have a lot of willpower. That's another word that I'm wanting to say. But I'm really blown away that the Ace of Swords really came through. So, what I saw in meditation really gives confirmation. So, someone here is really seeing things clearly, when it comes to the way they're feeling, their actions, the impact of this connection. So let's move forward. I feel like some of you may not be expecting anything. So there's an energy of you also feeling like, you know, shocked. Like, wow, this is out of the blue. I feel like someone here wants to hopes and wishes to close out a cycle of stagnation between the two of you. We have the hangman coming out in the spot of, wishes and things of that nature. And I get this vibe that they wish to come out of stagnation at this time. They want to close out this cycle, the world, follow behind with the judgment that talks about second chances. And then we have the page of wands, which talks about a message that could, be regarding something, that could be passionate. I feel like someone could be very passionate about coming towards you. Yeah, this is all beautiful energy. This could have been hidden from you. Star energy with the moon. Okay. So tell me, what is the outcome for this session? Well, cards flew out. Happy cards at that. What is the outcome for the situation? Now, this card flew to the ground. I'm not going to take it. And it was the star, another beautiful energy. What is the outcome? Wow, the fool. Okay. So the outcome, I'm going to speak back directly, and I hope this isn't confusing throughout today's reading. I'm getting two different things, when it comes from the energies, because it may be two sides to a story, maybe two individuals maybe tapping in, someone who may be of resonance, but the roles may be reversed in this session. So take it as it resonates, if at all. But the outcome is this individual taking a leap of faith, taking, I just heard coming your way, and I'm hearing the song called Shorty Swing My Way. It's an old school song. If you know, you know. But this is beautiful. I feel like this individual has every intention to do right. Um, their intentions are genuine, and I just really feel at the bottom of the deck, you give this person so much happiness. You make them feel this great deal of joy. Like, there's a great deal of emotional fulfillment. I feel like someone is coming out of a time of feeling trapped and powerless, and they're wanting to move towards you, you know, in a very romantic and intentional way. Yeah. I just heard the word soulmates. It could be deeper, than that, because there's a very strong connection here that you both share. Wow. Ten of Pentacles, King of Cups, and the Four of Swords. This says family love after a time of retreating and not speaking. So I'm going to go ahead and take the time to start clarifying for you all in the collective just to get more confirmation for those of you who may seek it. And if this session resonates with you, so far, within the session, we have one, two, three, four major arcanas. And what was what is so significant about the number four, there was a reading that I was going to do that I actually decided not to do and start excuse me, this one up. And I'm glad I did it, but I just want to mention it because four was of significance in that session that I chose not to post. So four associates with protection, security, stability, and four gives this my goodness, my verbiage, but four gives this energy around foundation as well. So let's go ahead and start clarifying. Can you tell me more about the lovers? Tell me more about this connection. I feel like, when it came to this connection and this person feeling this sense of sadness and grief and loss, when it comes to their emotions, I feel that there was a blockage, whether it be, within the 3D and, spiritually, energetically. This person is thinking about the blockages, something that they weren't seeing. And this is what has them in this energy of regretting, having this energy of remorse. I feel like something that they weren't seeing regarding this connection, they're now definitely seeing with clarity. And this is why at this time they're currently in the 5 of cups after going into hermit. Someone here is seeing how, their defensiveness, their in and out energy, became a burden. Yeah. Someone here is having a full blown awakening and they're being guided, I feel, by, Most High at this time to have strength and courage and the willpower, like to overcome this defensive energy. Because there's like a wounded energy here. Someone here is very deeply wounded, I feel. Okay, let's keep clarifying. Can you tell me about the 5 of Cups? What is it that this person feels? You know, I feel like, this person feels a lot of sadness and loss when it comes to what they could have had, what they could have worked on instead. I feel like there was a lot of confusion. Someone had a lot of situations that was calling for their attention. And I feel like this has a lot to do with someone's sadness, their choices. Someone here is thinking about how they, really want to have restoration, healing, and balance. They no longer wanted to feel this, trapped feeling or feeling powerless. Okay. Tell me about the hermit. Yeah, this person is while going through, or being in hermit, they could be experiencing a lot of endings or, transformations and transitions, just changes overall. I feel like this person is going through a lot of major, major changes in their life. And as I say that, we now have, 5 major arcanas, and five, once again, is a number that associates with change. Okay, and it's also associated with the planet Mercury. Mercury is once again currently retrograding. So there's a lot of changes taking place in a major way. So let me see what's on the bottom of the deck. Someone here is, wanting for movement. They're wanting to, they have so much hope, but they're also with this energy, they have hope in, They have hope in that they may not have missed an opportunity. I feel like even though there's a energy here of like I may have missed an opportunity and feeling low about it, but you have the chariot and you have the star, which both energies overpower this four of cups. Someone here is still choosing to stand up or rise up. Tell me more about the Queen of Swords. Wow. When I asked, well, what happened in the recent past that led you to going into hermit, and feeling the sadness over a connection? Well, it had to do with some type of, conversation. This conversation could have regarded someone, coming forward. Maybe they didn't. I'm not sure. Someone could have had, interference. There could have been conflict. I feel like this person, even though, you both had this interaction, okay, that was very, they didn't really whatever you said sent them into hermit and, to gain introspective about their self. I feel like throughout this time this person has been even more attracted to you. You're a very creative and magnetic individual. Even though there was conflict here, someone, is still in this energy of like having the strength and courage to wanting to rush in after having this new perspective, this clarity. So tell me about the strength. And I know I haven't spoken to the opposite energy, if you resonate with the second half of this, but I feel like you too could be going through transformations and changes in your life. You could be taking a leap of faith, elsewhere in a different direction, meaning like, where you're traveling. Maybe you have this thought pattern of, maybe I should just take the first step, when it comes to doing whatever it is you're doing in this moment. But I feel that you've had the strength and the courage and the confidence, and you've still remained in this Queen of Cups energy. If this resonates with you, you're still much very in tune with your emotions. You're very much still loving, very caring. I feel like you've just gained a sense of wisdom and um, you've gained the courage and the strength to really continue on this journey. Like you're still generous. You too have had moments where you have retreated and, done a lot of healing, and you could have saw some things, regarding this person, or this person I feel has been watching and thinking about things from the past. There could have been a lot of past memories associated with this person. Okay, so tell me more about the Three of Cups in the near future. Wow. Queen of Swords. Yeah, it's you that they want reconciliation with. And this person has, had a lot of sleepless nights about this, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anguish, a lot of dark visions about taking this new path and coming towards you with this offer. Some feel like they possibly may have, moved really, really slow. This individual feels like, they invested into a situation which, it really left them feeling a sense of disappointment too as an individual. But this person wants reconciliation and they want you two to be on the same page, to celebrate coming back together in, some way. Tell me about the 10 of Wands. Yeah, someone, this is in their fears and concerns, right? Like I said, they may feel like they were too much of a burden. Like you may see the connection that you shared with them as a burden, and they have a concern about that. Like you might remember, or see it as a conflict. Someone here possibly could have lied about commitment We have the seven of swords with the Hierophant and the five of wands. You know, there could have been competition here. And it really could have, wow, justice. Yeah, I feel like there was a great deal of imbalance or even injustices, and someone really has a concern around, how you feel about the connection. They like, what if you see it as a burden? And if I'm speaking directly to the person once again, you feel like this feminine could see this connection as a burden, like this situation that you both went through was a burden, a lot of conflict. Tell me about the Knight of Swords energy. Wow. So like I said, just continuing on the path of that the person that I'm directly picking up on, you are on the precipice once again of doing the unexpected. And what's unexpected is the fact that you want a brand new passionate beginning with this feminine. You want it all, is what I just heard. I want it all. And now I'm hearing the song with Kendrick where he says the lyrics to some extent of, I deserve it all. Someone here wants it all. And I'm hearing phone call, but if that isn't the case, there's like this unexpected, out of the blue, all of a sudden energy coming through. Yeah. From someone who wants to close out this cycle with you. They have a lot of deep emotions for you. There definitely was a lot of pain that took place between the two of you. This person is seeing things through and through. They miss you. And once again, the Knight of Swords energy, this is this person. They know that you're guarded and they feel a lot of remorse for their actions. Five of Cups. You intuitively could have felt this. You could have also seen this person as someone, this person is toxic, but this person is going through transformation. The Emperor. Wow. Excuse me. My throat as I'm saying more things. So let's move further along. Can you tell me about the Hangman energy? Yeah, the King of Cups. This is this person, this masculine energy that I've been speaking to and about. You no longer want to be or have things, stagnated, or you no longer want things to be stagnant between the two of you in these moments. You are hoping and wishing to share your emotions, to really show this person, how it is that you're feeling. Yeah, the hangman at the bottom of the deck. You no longer want stagnation. You know, um, there's a lot of heartbreak in the situation, but you really hope and wish to have a second chance with this woman that you feel this magnetic attraction to. A Queen of Wands type of, embodiment of an individual. She's very confident, she's very creative, very passionate. I just heard the word spontaneous. So that could be a resonance for you if you resonate with the opposite, if you're on the opposite end of this energy and receiving it. This person has a lot of emotions for you, and they no longer want things to be or remain stagnant between the two of you. So let me get clarification on the full. Yeah, this part, like I said, Page of Wands. The outcome is you, taking this leap of faith towards this feminine energy and orchestrating this message. You have a lot of passion, you have a lot of emotion, and you've allowed yourself to go through, transformation after transformation. I feel ending after ending. I feel you've been also in hermit, reflecting and having introspective, regarding this connection. This could have a lot to do with burdens being released around you, you wanting to give to the situation. I even see commitment on the table. For some of you, you're wanting a higher level of commitment in this situation. Some of you may feel like, conflict, chaos, discord, could be awaiting. You could feel like, whoever this feminine is, she could be a little angry in this moment. Not saying, and for those of you on the opposite end, don't take it if it doesn't resonate. But if you could have been upset with this person at one point, but it's like I don't want to say they don't care. They're still coming in with this Eight of Wands energy swiftly. Okay. So now for what I felt like would be fun and just further confirming for today's session. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull an oracle. Well, this part won't possibly be as fun. This is an oracle for those of you who seek further guidance. So if you are seeking any guidance, what is it that can be said regarding this situation? What message do you have for those in the collective? Alrighty, so we have the great need. The number 46 specifically could be of significance. The number 4 or 6. The months April or June could be of significance. I'm going to read to you all exactly what the description of this card speaks to. Okay. So this talks about collaboration, teamwork, and wow, unity. The great Ennead was the representation of the 9 principal deities of the pantheon, also known as the 9 gods of Heliopolis, if I said that correctly. They were Atum Ra, Osiris, Isis, Nephthys, Set, Nut, Tefnut, Geb or Jeb, and Shu. The number 9 is said to be a very powerful number, representing the collective power of 3 times 3, and in numerology, it signifies wisdom through experience. When the Great Ennead card shows up in one of your spreads, it is highlighting the need for collaboration and teamwork. It indicates that you have undertaken something which you cannot achieve or complete alone. You will need assistance and support. This card suggests that you build up a network of friends, family, colleagues, and professional services so that you have support available to you when you need it. The Great Need also speaks of unity. So if there has been some discord in your circle recently, know that this will soon be resolved and unity will be restored. Independence has its place, but you also need to know when it is time to be a team player. No man is an island. And this card suggests that now is the time to seek help and to build a strong circle of support around yourself. This card could also indicate that you will soon be called upon to support another. Wow. Okay, so once again, that card talked about collaboration, teamwork, and unity. And what I was getting was a lot of what was connecting to this reading. This person here is seeking those very things. They want to collaborate, they want to have teamwork, and they want unity, and that comes up with that Three of Cups energy, which talks about celebrating and reconciling. So now for the fun part, actually. I have a couple of other oracles. I'm going to pull 3 oracles that will kind of give more confirmation for those of you that may seek it. And this is the BuzzFeed oracles. These are very funny and they're very telling when it comes to, generalized energy, um, ranging from our environment, nostalgia, colors, and also animals. So let me go ahead and do a quick shuffle and let's see if we can get 3 oracles around either your energy collective, if the for those of you that this message resonates with directly, or if you are on the receiving end of who this person is. I'm going to get 3 oracles to describe the energies around you all at this time. So I had a few cards fall, and I take that, with significance. So we have the flip phones that came out. We have the armadillo. We have pumpkin spice. We have, excuse me, we have sticker earrings. We have hanging out at the mall. We have coral reef, and that came out in reverse. And we had passing notes. So those energies alone are very telling. So there's an energy around a serious conversation. There could be gossip around the situation. Um, Someone here is no longer wanting to deal with a situation that was like imitating or very, I don't know why I'm getting the word fake, but there could be an energy of someone here wanting to hang out. Someone could have went through an energy of being a bit indecisive. I don't know, there's just a lot of different energies, but I'm not going to pull those specifically. I just wanted to mention those just in case they could be confirmation for anyone that is having resonance with today's session. And I get 3 oracles for this session. I tell you what, I'm just gonna pull them directly. Mhm. I'm hearing Bruno Mars or Bruno Mars, and there's a certain verse that's coming through. If the world was ending, I want to be next to you. I don't know if I have the correct lyrics, but if you know the song, Bruno is saying, he wants to be next to someone, even if the world was ending. I don't know. Maybe some of you should listen to those lyrics. They could be of significance. So let me go ahead and actually, before I start to pull, because I'm taking notice that some of these cards are upside down, and I don't want upside down energy. So let me correct this really quickly. Okay. Alrighty, I think that's all of them now are corrected. So let me do a quick shuffle again. I'm glad that I saw that because I probably would have took it. Let's get 3 oracles for the energy around the collective. All right, I decided 2 more. Mm. Okay. Alrighty, so I may continue to do some clarifications for this session because the oracles that just came out signify some questionable energies that I want to see because I don't feel like this energy is fitting for you all in the collective that have resonance. I feel like this is outside of you two in this moment, and only take this if it resonates with your situation. But the cards that came out, we have the alligator, rainforest, and we have VHS. So the way that I pulled them out, I really feel that that is of significance. Now, when it comes to, the animal oracles and the deck that I'm using, um, this is a more raw and natural, direct answer when it comes to the oracles of the animals. So this, I feel like, serves as a bit of guidance. The alligator card tends to represent a very aggressive, threatening, contentious energy. I don't know if this is an energy around you or around this individual. We did see conflicting energies, throughout this session. The Five of Wands did show itself, whether at the bottom of the deck or just, in shuffling in essence. But there's definitely an energy of someone who feels aggressive, threatening, or contentious around, this connection. And, just to further go off of this energy that wanted to show itself, this is someone that I don't know if they wanted to confuse or tangle or even complicate something, regarding this connection, this aggressive, threatening, contentious person. But there's an energy here of someone still having this sentimental feeling of nostalgia towards you. They're still looking back and memorializing whatever took place between the two of you, um, within this connection. And I feel like someone feels very threatened by that, and they are very aggressive, and they've tried to really confuse, complicate, and tangle this individual. So, and just to back off of that energy, I said, well, this is something that could have this could have been someone that could have been gradually, you know, the scratch and sniff card came out, which talks about a very nosy energy for me. That's what I get whenever I see it. Someone who could have been very curious, inquisitive, and analytical about this situation, regarding this connection. Yeah, the otter. And right here, the otter card, it speaks about, a soulmate, a connection, a partnership. And I feel like this is someone outside of you both. I feel they've been really curious and inquisitive about this connection. Yeah. The otter card represents partnership, unity, and connection. And then we have the peach card that also came out. And I want to talk about what this means when it comes to peach. So, this is somebody that, could have been very dandy, agreeable, and joyful around this individual. They could have played that part. I don't know whose energy this is, but they're really like they carry the energy of a rhino. I'm just gonna say it like how it coming out. Like this is someone that they could have a different exterior. Someone who's very stubborn, tough, and persistent. Especially when it came to this threatening feeling, this aggressiveness, and this entanglement of confusion and complications. They've been gossiping, passing notes, even rumors. That's what this energy talks about with passing notes specifically. I'll tell you all. Gossip, scandal, and rumors. Wow, this person whatever they've done is fading, it's declining, and it's passing through. And this individual, as they experience that, they are feeling like they're about to burst and surge and explode. This person feels threatened. I just heard on every level. So let me get a couple cards on the three energies. I'm not going to go through all of those other oracles that I looked at, but just for those of you that resonate with that, if you know or are aware of an energy outside of you two, because I don't feel like this resonates with you all as individuals. Let me get some clarifying cards really quick. I wasn't expecting to go, into clarification more, but tell me about the alligator energy. Who is this that feels threatened, aggressive, and contentious? Wow, Five of Pentacles. It could be someone that could be experiencing losses. It could be someone who is getting left out in this moment. They could feel left out in the cold by this individual. Another five. Yeah, they are. This could be someone that they could have collaborated with. There's like a blockage now in ending to the situation, and it has to do with someone here wanting to heal and have a second chance. Judgment in the star with the Four of Wands. Tell me about this rainforest energy. What is this confusion, entanglement and complication? Wow. I just heard this person has caused, a lot of manipulation. We have the Empress in reverse. This could be a feminine energy, possibly someone they could um have been connected to, married to, had a significant commitment with. This could be someone that they, ended a relationship with, someone they also could possibly share children with. But the Empress in reverse is someone that who is not nurturing, they're not balanced, they're not loving, they're not open, they're very restricted, very insecure even. They're not in the energy of receiving really. They are manipulating, if anything, overall. An Empress in reverse is not a good energy. There's like, I don't know, the word insecurity is being said. Well, that's what's coming through. Tell me about VHS. Tell me about this VHS oracle. I just heard back down memory lane. Minnie Riperton. So yeah, someone is definitely, from the past. This is someone who's wanting forward movement. This is this person. Yeah. They're thinking about giving. They're thinking about how they gave or didn't give, possibly. Someone is looking back. Someone is very sentimental. And someone here feels threatened, this individual. Someone they walked away from, someone that they are leaving out. There's like a leaving out energy here. And for the last last part of this session, and then I'll go ahead and close it out. I have this fun deck that I had for some time now, and it has burning questions. So I just want to do this just in case if there's any confirmation or any connections. Maybe it's something that could have been asked between you both in this situation, or if they could ask. So let's see, burning questions. Can I have one? I'm only gonna do one. Wow. Okay. So funny thing, I feel like I don't know what this person has done or what took place, regarding your connection. Clearly, I see, there was a conversation that was had. It sent this person into hermit. You two also could have gone within regarding this connection. Both of you could be guided, at this moment to have strength and courage and confidence regarding this situation. But what is coming out for burning questions, I feel like as this person is experiencing, remorse and feeling regret, and even thinking like, maybe I caused a lot of burdens. You know what they say about people that do things that, they're not proud of, that aid in separations or endings, right? They have moments of thinking about, well, how did that person think? Seeing it from your view, seeing it from the other individual's view. Well, the question that came out, have you ever cheated? I feel like this could be a burning question that they may, have when they're in the Nine of Swords energy, when they are thinking and reflecting. Someone could be wondering to themselves, even if you didn't have a relationship with this person, someone could want to know that about you. Like I just heard for certain, someone could want to be for certain that you're not that person. Like, have you ever cheated? Would you ever cheat? So with that being said, I hope that you all have enjoyed today's session. I know I have. It's been a very long time since I've come on air, and I hope that it gave you some guidance and clarity if you were seeking. Thank you all once again for tuning into Esoteric Sessions. Peace.